Polls opened yesterday across the UK for local and regional elections. It could prove historic in Northern Ireland and disastrous for Prime Minister Boris Johnson, with early election counts showing the Conservatives are down 100 plus seats. They're taking hits in Conservative heartland around London and UK areas that they managed to hold even under the Tony Blair honeymoon and periods of economic austerity. But Conservative ministers have been quick to defend the PM, especially as Keir Starmer's Labor Party is also underperforming. British journalist and radio presenter Julia Hartley-Brewer joins me now from London. Great to have you on the program here in Australia, Julia. As always, pretty catastrophic results for the Tories from what I've seen coming through, but there's also trouble for Labor.
Not as bad for the Conservatives, actually, as some had feared. The key seat being lost, well, the borough being lost, was Westminster, literally the council around the Palace of Westminster where our Parliament sits, being lost for the first time since my lifetime to the Labour Party. Labour making a lot of gains in London, not doing so well, actually, across the rest of the country, as many would expect. The key things that have been coming up, though, is Partygate, Beergate, Tractorgate. You don't want to ask about that. It involves watching porn in the House of Commons chamber, but also Boris Johnson himself. The thing is, you mentioned Tony Blair there. Are these results good enough midterm that you could see the Labour Party win the next general election in 2024? Many don't think so, but there are still very big question marks about Boris Johnson's future.
Yeah, will he survive?
Do you know, if I had to put money on it, I would say no. By the end of the summer, I think he will be gone. We've got so many different issues coming up about all this breaking of lockdown rules and also the cost of living crisis, which everyone around the world is seeing, energy prices going sky high. There is so much that is going wrong in the economy here. I'm not entirely sure that a lot of his MPs are going to keep him. There's always been a very transactional relationship. He was going to deliver Brexit. He was going to deliver a big victory, and he did. But if he's not looking good in the polls, and he's not right now, then there are big question marks. The question is who would take over from him. I think that is the only thing stopping Tory MPs ousting their leader right now.
There was a story in the Australian papers today from our now former High Commissioner George Brandis that in the free trade agreement between us and the United Kingdom, the Whitehall public servants were trying to nix it. They were wanting it to fail. Yep. Is that about the public service, the institutionalised swamp in Britain, wanting to try and make Brexit fail?
Absolutely, 100%. I had the great pleasure and honour of interviewing George Brandis on a number of occasions. Great man, really sad he's headed back to Australia, actually. He's quite right, and I'm glad he's called it out. We've had this issue, I call them Remoaners. They didn't vote Remain, they didn't even accept the result for Brexit, and they have been trying to undermine the Brexit vote ever since 2016. I mean, good Lord, it's 6 years on, and they've still been trying to do it. But they tried to stop it happening, and when it did happen, they tried to make sure it wasn't a proper Brexit, and then they tried to make sure when it did happen eventually that it was going to actually fail. This is the trouble, and an awful lot of problems that our ministers in this government do actually face, is they are battling daily with civil servants trying to undermine them. I think it's a really big issue for our democracy.
I've run out of time, but I know you and I have talked a lot about border protection. I'm going to come back. I'll tee up a time to talk to you again because I'm really interested to see how your Rwanda deal is working, how it's going down with the community.
I think we all are.
Thank you for your time. Have a great have a great weekend, Julia. Great to see you.